The birth of the Angevin Empire. Picture a kingdom in chaos, castles held by rogue barons, rival claimants tearing England apart, and a brewing conflict that chroniclers would later describe bluntly: Christ and his saints slept. Out of this devastation came a political force that would reshape medieval Europe, the Angevin Empire. But the empire didn't begin with a king. It began with a claim, a civil war, and a remarkably determined woman, Empress Matilda. Today, we're exploring the origins of the Angevin Empire, from Matilda's struggle to the rise of her son Henry II, the man who would forge one of the largest dynastic realms in the Middle Ages. Our story starts in 1135 when King Henry I of England died unexpectedly after a hunting trip. Henry had lost his only legitimate son, William, years earlier in the White Ship disaster, one of the greatest maritime tragedies of medieval Europe. With no male heir, Henry forces nobles to swear allegiance to his daughter, Matilda. But there was a problem. Medieval barons didn't love the idea of being ruled by a woman, especially one married to Geoffrey Plantagenet, the young and ambitious Count of Anjou, a region long at odds with Normandy. So, when Henry died, many nobles turned their backs on their oaths and instead supported Stephen of Blois, Henry's nephew. Stephen raced to England, seized the treasury, and had himself crowned. The stage was set for nearly 2 decades of civil war. Matilda refused to accept Stephen's usurpation. From her base in Normandy, she and her husband, Geoffrey, waged a relentless campaign. Geoffrey captured Normandy piece by piece, while Matilda crossed the Channel to rally supporters in England. By the early 1140s, Matilda's cause surged. She even captured King Stephen at the Battle of Lincoln in 1141, bringing England to the brink of a new reign. Chronicles started calling her Lady of the English. Yet the victory was short-lived. Matilda's stern, imperious leadership style alienated many nobles. Crowds in London drove her out before she could be crowned. Stephen's supporters rallied, and the war dragged on for another decade, bloody, inconclusive, and exhausting for the kingdom. While the Civil War ravaged England, Matilda's son Henry was growing into a formidable political and military leader. Born in 1133, Henry inherited both the Norman royal bloodline and the expansive Angevin territories of his father. By age 14, he was already leading troops. By 19, he was a political force across France. But everything changed in 1152 with a marriage that would redraw the map of medieval Europe. Enter Eleanor of Aquitaine. One of the most powerful women of the medieval ages, Eleanor controlled the vast Duchy of Aquitaine, nearly 1/3 of modern France. After annulling her marriage to the King of France, she married Henry just 8 weeks later. The impact was explosive. Henry now held Anjou, Maine, Touraine, Normandy, and Aquitaine, and he wasn't even King of England yet. This union transformed Henry from a rising noble into a powerhouse capable of ruling a pan-European empire. By the mid-1150s, England was exhausted. Neither Matilda nor Stephen could deliver a decisive blow. But Henry, now a seasoned warrior and a charismatic leader, invaded England in 1153, quickly gaining momentum. Rather than plunge the kingdom into yet another cycle of bloodshed, the warring sides reached an agreement called the Treaty of Winchester. The terms were simple. Stephen would remain king for life. Henry would be his heir. When Stephen died the following year, Henry ascended the throne as King Henry II of England. The Angevin Empire had officially begun. Henry inherited a broken kingdom, illegal castles, competing courts, corrupt sheriffs, and a monarchy weakened by decades of rebellion. But Henry wasn't just a conqueror, he was a reformer. Within months of taking the throne, he moved swiftly to reassert royal control. He demolished unauthorized castles, he reformed the legal system, laying groundwork for English common law. He reorganized financial administration, and crucially, he reclaimed lands and rights lost during Stephen's reign. England, once divided and chaotic, rapidly became one of the best governed realms in Europe. It's easy to think of Henry primarily as an English king, but his heart and political empire were on the continent. At its peak, the Angevin Empire stretched from the Scottish border to the Pyrenees. It wasn't a centralized nation-state, but a patchwork of territories held together by loyalty, marriage, conquest, and strong leadership. Henry's empire included England, Normandy, Anjou, Maine, Touraine, Aquitaine, and Brittany. It rivaled the power of the French crown itself and in many ways overshadowed it. Yet, even as Henry built this vast empire, cracks were forming beneath the surface. His sons were ambitious, his marriage with Eleanor was volatile, and the French king viewed the Angevin realms as an existential threat. Henry's own reforms sparked conflicts, including with the man who would become a saint, Thomas Becket. The rise of the empire was dramatic, but its fall would be equally so. But for now, what matters is that the foundations were laid. Through civil war, strategic marriage, political brilliance, and reckless ambition, the Angevin Empire emerged as one of medieval Europe's greatest powers.